Black Americans were promised that this country would no longer judge people by the color of their skin. Tonight,
Make it big.
Promised that this country would no longer judge people by the color of their skin. Tonight, nearly 30 years later, we bring you the results of a primetime investigation. We started this by going to the Leadership Council for Open Metropolitan Communities in Chicago. It's a group that tests for fair housing. We asked them to give us 2 testers, trained in presenting themselves exactly the same way. 2 young men who would go into white and racially mixed neighborhoods with hidden cameras to record their experiences for us. During the 2.5 weeks, at times the 2 men were treated equally, at times there was ambiguity. But tonight, we're going to show you some of the ways in which they were treated differently. Because this didn't happen just once or twice, it happened every single day. Sean Cuman and Glenn Brewer. They worked together at the Leadership Council. They're both from the Midwest. They went to Big Ten schools, grew up in middle-class families, even play on the same softball team. They're friends. 2 young men whose lives are virtually the same in every way but one, the one you can see. A few months ago, John and Glenn agreed to pack their bags and help with our investigation. Our question: how much difference does the color of your skin make in everyday life in America? For the answer, we went to the city of St. Louis, Missouri, where the 2 men moved into this motel and prepared to begin a new life. It really feels that you're equal.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The twist? Every day we'll be with them to show you what happens. Let's tell you a little bit about how we're going to go about this. We're going to send John and Glenn into a variety of situations, and we're going to monitor what's going on from the van. We'll be parked outside. One of the first things John and Glenn do is take a look around the city. Go to a shopping center to pick up some things they need. John looks at some clothes. So does Glenn. They do some browsing. And right away, something catches our attention. When John walks up to this electronics counter, he gets almost instant service. But just a few minutes later, when Glenn walks up, he is ignored by not 1, but 2 salesmen standing a few feet away. We didn't make anything of it until it happened again and again. In the shoe department of this store, John gets instant attention and a hearty welcome. Yet when Glenn walks in just 3 minutes later, the salesman looks away. We run a stopwatch as the salesman continues to stare past Glenn. No hearty welcome for him.
I'm standing there and standing there and standing there. But John just barely skirts the fringe of the department. The guy comes over and he's joking, he's laughing, and that did not happen for me.
Even when the 2 men stroll into a nearby car dealership, Glenn walks up to a new car right in front of the showroom window. Once again, we run the clock.
I walked around the car, kicked the tires, looked under the rear and the muffler. It seemed an enormous amount of time for me to stand there and wait for me to spend my money.
So you're clear that they knew you were there?
Yes, there was a black salesman who looked at me and then looked away.
So after looking at the video, that you see that racial discrimination has been around since forever, and no matter how much progress people will make, it really doesn't matter in our society. You will never do enough to stop the prejudiced views that you will have with your counterparts. You and your counterpart can have the same amount of money, live in the same neighborhood, the same job, and you still not. Some will still never look at you the same. Racial discrimination involves treating someone unfavorably because he or she is not of a certain race, and it has been seen as destructive, pervasive, and real. And previous history with like the civil rights movement and many leaders want to achieve all equality, it still hasn't achieved it. And they say that the First and the Fourth Amendment are responsible of keeping citizens away from like prejudiced views and harm, but really it doesn't. Some examples are the Dred Scott versus Sanford in 1856, where slaves petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court for their freedom, but the court ruled against him and said that those Bill of Rights do not count towards him. It has been dated back, like racial discrimination has been dated back since like the 1400s, since the colonial era where Europeans came over here and have dispersed Native Americans because of the way they looked and the way they lived. And one big Native American and European fight was the Trail of Tears. It has been seen like among like young teens and people on college campuses. You don't have to like go up to somebody and treat them differently, but just the way that you look at them and the way that you think about them.
Alright, I have some questions for y'all in the class. First question I have any of y'all ever been a victim of racial discrimination? So would y'all like to share stories? I mean, I have a story, but y'all like to share those stories.
One time I went into Walmart, and there's this older guy. He used to work there. He doesn't even work there. He didn't work there at the time. But I walked in with my friend. He's a white guy, and we both just had hoodies on and jeans, regular tennis shoes. And we decided to split up through the store. Like I went over to electronics and over to wherever he went. And I saw the guy, like he saw us both walk in, but when we split up, I started going down the aisles, and I could, like every time I got to the end of the aisle, he would come up and like he would stare at me. And as I kept going through the store, he'd keep going. So I tried to like pull a slip move on him, see if I could come up behind him and get away. I got tired of being watched all the time. And he stopped and talked to some, I went behind the aisle, he was on the other aisle talking to some employee. And he was like, yeah, there was this black guy here, I thought he was about to steal something. I was like, how do you get that impression about me?
That's how it works. Anybody else have any stories? Well, when I was like 7 or 8, I was in the store with my mother. I was in the food line. And we had just went to the store and I got some gummy worms. And then I went in the store with her. We was gonna say, Mom, I was like, Mom, I gotta use the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, going through the aisles, and I see a white employee, and he's following me to the bathroom. Like I have a gummy worm, so he's thinking that I stole the gummy worm and I'm eating them. And I went to the bathroom. He followed me all the way into the bathroom. After I finished eating my noodle, like the wrapper in the garbage, So he went back, after I left out, he followed me back out there. I guess he went in the garbage can, took the wrapper out, followed me back out, and was like, did you steal these? I'm like, no. So I'm trying to go back to find my mother. He's still following me, questioning me. He tried to grab my arm. And then like I screamed, my mother came back, and she just started raising. She was just going in, like all of the people in the food line were going in. And then like they was trying to give her like gift cards and stuff, so she wouldn't call the police and all that. I mean, we watch people all the time, just because his skin color and he look different. Well, I have another question. Do y'all think the world will ever come to a point of equality where there's no type of racial discrimination at all? No. Mm-hmm. At all?
For the simple fact that everybody's different. So there's somebody somewhere that maybe had an experience or maybe just brought around that mindset and it will never leave them.
Yeah, I think there's any way we can change that? No.
Why do you think that?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because what your parents raised you. Like back home, like we got rednecks.
Where's that?
Oh, I said in the mountains.
You said where?
In the mountains.
And what's it called?
Close to this. So some of them cool, some of them they got their ways. Like you can be friends with them, but they always have those little remarks they want to say. Or they always, if they're not saying it about black people, they're gonna say it about Mexicans. But I'm not gonna say it's just white people because I do have
True.
black friends that had like they talk to them about white people just because they white. So I mean, it's just everybody's mindset. Ain't nobody gonna change. This is one thing you can't do. Now that you do it yourself. So
Do you think like that racial discrimination starts like in your own race? Like we can discriminate against other people that look just like us?
you can, because black people have everything. Yeah. So I mean, people talk about each other. So I guess that's how it starts, and then it goes off of that. So I mean, we can change, but it's gonna take a lot. A lot.
Y'all think racial discrimination happens on campus?
Of course.
Of course.
We a black school.
You see like 3 white people walking down the block and you be like, what they trying to do?
You can walk the Burger King. You can walk the Burger King and think you smoking weed.
Yeah, right.
I don't get that.
I think that's the part where we discriminate against each other and ourselves.
Well, do y'all think racial discrimination was a big part of the 2012 president election?
I think it's a part of the comments that are made about it.
Yep.
Because what other president have you been like? All the presidents, you actually want to say Obama is the worst one. You hear comments about like he's the Antichrist. He's related to Osama. Like,
Did nobody talk about Bush?
like the guy that put us in the situation y'all didn't talk this much junk about.
Yeah.
Is it because he's black? I mean, that's the only real thing I can see. I mean, they try to prove that he's not American. Like, y'all didn't check nobody else's birth certificate last time I checked.
Alright, well, in conclusion, I believe that at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their own opinion. So right now in our society, equality is something that we won't receive for a while. Even though President Obama has been elected for a second term, this may be a step forward in killing discrimination, but it also may be some steps back because people are going to have hateful comments and that's just going to cause us as the black community or as any community to try to argue with that. So discrimination, I think, will continue to be a problem in our society.
Everybody have any questions? Comments? Concerns?
How long was the video?
It was like 10 minutes, but it's 2 parts.
Like, where?
I think in the 19s, yeah, 1970. something. It was only 60 minutes when.
Check and see. It looked like it was in the 80s. Yeah. That was Diane Sawyer when she was young. Wow.
What's your own personal views?
I think that in some ways that we can like achieve from like stepping forward from racial discrimination, but at the same time, I don't think we will because I guess, I don't want to say that's like our nature, but that's what we automatically do. Like even if it's something small, we're going to like judge somebody because of the way they look or act.
I don't think it's never going to change. Just like you said, like it's how you're raised. Because it's in your childhood, like when you're around your family, you pick up off of what they teach you and what they say. So when you're in school, like little kids in kindergarten, they're like, oh, he's black, oh, he's white, because that's what your parents say. So it's going to be like that forever, I think.
I kind of think it's something we picked up out of the media too, because a lot of movies show black people when they go white also.
All right, the video was made in 1991. What I think about discrimination, well, I think it's bad, but it won't be improved.